Oh boy, this is not good, guys. This is not good for esports whatsoever. Esports players, organizations, even casters as commentators as well are going to be hurt by this. New immigration policies are coming very shortly, and especially the ramifications for those to America. Of all places out there, the land of the free, well, coming here, though, is going to be very difficult for people to do coming forward as well. We didn't see too many ramifications. Actually, a great article, a couple articles linked down below for all of you describing in detail what exactly is going to happen. I'll give you guys a TLDR, a quick summary of that as well, and what's going to happen to players we love seeing, and we might not be seeing them play in some very established organizations out there. This will greatly affect all esports, whether you watch League of Legends, whether you watch CSGO, Fortnite, whatsoever. It's going to affect all esports players who have to come to America to try and compete. So Article 1, it actually touched on 2018, where we saw very few ramifications, but it laid out a guideline to the worst case scenario, which could have come this year, an update article, a follow-up article to that, and we are now entering that worst case scenario, that being requirements for these visas, the people here are actually under athletic visas, and if they're going to try and file for extensions, this especially comes into effect when you have long-term people here for a longer contract, whether it's for CSGO or for leagues like the LCS for League of Legends. These players will be heavily affected if they can even stay, let alone compete in the United States. Now, on top of that as well, it actually gives us a list of requirements that are now there potentially for applicants, and I say maybe there because, well, it's going to depend who the applicant actually is. It is that subjective of a process, and this brand new process as well, now it pretty much urges these immigration officers to try and deny applications at any turn they possibly can. And this is especially mentioned and attuned to when it now calls for apparently an international reputation for the said player. And it's going to get subjective because this now depends on a player by player basis. Likely if a player is more well known than another player, they're going to be more accepted into this country, that being the United States of America. So now brings into question as well, it's going to be additional requests for information, additional evidence for these applicants is going to be needed, and a part of that will be a huge thing of their international reputation. So of course, actually drawn to exactly with this paragraph, that stating itself, the athlete must be coming to the United States to participate in an athletic competition which has a distinguished reputation and which requires participation of an athlete that has an international reputation. So as you guys can see by that, if I'm going to look at two players out there and one is more popular than the other, that more popular player, if he's internationally coming to America, is more likely to be accepted than the guy you know nothing about, which in turn, in some cases, would make sense, right? If you're going to make friends at a birthday party, and I know one who's already kind of a friend, and I have a stranger walk up, I'm likely to be better friends. I don't know where I'm going with this, but getting visas into a country should not be a popularity contest. You know, certainly to a certain degree, everyone should have an equal opportunity to attain that visa, and it has now come specifically for esports players. It's not actually a same rule applying to many traditional sports out there, but specifically to esports athletes, because that word athlete does not technically apply to all of esports out there currently. It depends whether the esport itself is established, and even further so if that player is also established on social medias, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be, to actually have themselves be a more well-known esports athlete is what now it comes down to attaining a visa for America. So what this means for the future, I have no clue. You guys know I'm not legally probably attuned to tell you guys all the things out there, the ramifications this could possibly have, if it's going to get more strict or less strict. We certainly thought with the rise of esports out there, at least I did, this kind of process would be less restrictive, meaning I thought more pro players would be able to travel all across the world. But over the past few months, especially the past few weeks in CSGO, we've seen many pro players continually actually have visa issues. You know, Gratis Faction from Renegades, he was the most recent one. Alongside him, Ricky from Complexity as well. We had Canadians, Australians across the board, Chinese players as well, continuously having visa issues. And it does seem for now, even players traveling to America of all places, these issues will sadly continue. And it seems based off what we read so far, it's not getting any better until an esport or any esport out there is actually recognized as a true sport, and therefore their players as actual athletes. But for now, it tends to be a popularity contest. So the article also mentions suggestions for organizations, players, casters, commentators out there. I'll show them on screen for all of you guys, and you will recognize, well, pretty much a big one is actually trying to get your exposure out there as much as possible. Take any interview you possibly can, because with interviews, your name pops up more, therefore more followers, therefore your name becomes more well recognized. Hi guys, my name is Jake from Esports Talk. If you would like to join me for an interview and get your name more publicized, feel free to hit me in the DM. So There it is, my rant. I do not like where legislation is going. I can't really do much about that. What can possibly fix this in the future? Not much we can do. Let's be honest about that. But there is something the organizations can do, and looking forward about this. We see it time and time again, especially with the kind of tumultuous esports schedule out there. It's hard to schedule for events. Hopefully event organizers can actually give their schedules out more often. Therefore, organizations can actually know what to plan for, and their players as well can actually plan ahead of time. Whenever it comes to a visa issue, planning ahead of time way down the road is always most important. We see it so many times where 2 to 3 weeks outside of an event, we have players trying to organize and actually get these visas, and makes it practically impossible even for those immigration officers. So as long as you guys are watching as an organization, I'm sure more orgs are catching on to this more and more often, is to try and get this process done as far ahead of time as possible. But it also does fall on organizers, because we know many organizers out there for large events don't even announce their events until maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months ahead of time, and that really puts a lot of pressure on the organizations and on the players to acquire those said visas. It's a two-part action. It takes the organizers and it takes the orgs as well to work together to have these players hopefully not have these issues, but these issues will continue. There's no doubt about it. Woo! That was a video. I hope you guys all enjoy. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below as per usual. I read every comment. You guys are smarter than I am, so I'm very curious what you guys have to say about this. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy this episode of Esports News. Hopefully going to see you back here sometime soon with more. But until then, take care. Have a great day. Have a great night. I'm going to leave now. Goodbye.